Okay, we're going to get started. If everyone can make sure you have your microphones on, please. Okay, good evening. It's Monday, November 10th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call to order the Village of Brookfield Board meeting. Would everyone please join me in a pledge of allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the
States of America.
Thank you. Mike, we have a roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark.
Here.
Trustee Whitehead.
Here.
Trustee Hendricks. Not present. Trustee Narimatsu.
Here.
Trustee Gilhooley.
Here.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Here.
President Garvey.
Here. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for coming, everybody. We have no appointments or presentations. At this point in the meeting, I will open it up to public comment. And at this point, any member of the public can offer general public comment to the board or on a specific topic. At the committee of the whole meeting, right after this meeting, there will be another public comment section. But I do intend during the discussion during the rental inspection ordinance proposed to take public comment at that time specifically on that topic, but you're free to speak now or you're free to speak later on. So is there anyone on this side that wants to offer any public comment? Sir, right on the end. If you please come up to the microphone and just state your name.
I don't know if it's,
I think
there you go. Hello, everybody. My name's Jim Glimco, and I am married to my wife, Gosha, who owns Gosha's Coffee Shop in Brookfield. So, you know, say,
Hi, how are you? I'm Cynthia Aranda from Incureware/Comtech Pro.
so Brookfield did a big development with redoing everything in the Grand Boulevard and also Brookfield Boulevard. We went to all the meetings. We went to everything. We were excited. You're gonna make things better for the businesses. And we supported everything you did, even though our businesses were really hurt all summer by all the construction. Everything really hurt our businesses like crazy. But we went to everything and supported everything. But then at the end of the day, we just found out the very last minute, you took away all our parking. So a coffee shop needs people to be able to park. There were 2 spots in front of the coffee shop that people parked there for years. Those were taken away. And then right across the street by the train tracks, 4 spots were taken away to make handicap parking. So there's no spots near the coffee shop anymore. And it really is hurting business. And also, because nobody can park in front of the business, it makes it look like the business is closed. And my friend here has a business that sells T-shirts and sweatshirts and a lot of stuff to a lot of schools, and a lot of stuff are in big boxes that are, you know, maybe 40 pounds, 50 pounds. So cars would pull up, they'd load them in the trunk, and they'd pull off. They can't do that anymore. Now they got to walk, 100 yards to get to the place. So the businesses, the 3 businesses that are right over there, and this is on Prairie and Brookfield Avenue, I mean, you really cut our legs out from underneath us. And so we did not know about this. We went to all the meetings with public comment. There was no chance for us to comment about that. I did go to there was a rumor I heard a couple days before they took away the parking. I went to the village hall and asked the village hall, and they told me, oh, it's not going to happen. But it did happen.
Okay. Tim and Derek, can you look? I mean, I'm not aware of all the spaces being taken away, but I'm going to ask staff to look into to see if there's anything. There were some temporary markings and spaces that we heard about, things being removed, and they maybe weren't lined properly. But I'm going to ask staff to report back to the board and make any recommended changes. And in terms of the handicap spaces, I knew some handicap, but they'll report back to the board and give us any options if there's something we can do. So.
Okay, I mean, I understand handicap, but really the 2 in front of the businesses, those are, vitally needed. Okay. There was a sign there that showed parking to the corner, and that sign was removed and then put back to remove those 2 spots.
I understand. We can't take any action tonight. I appreciate you bringing it
Okay.
forward. They'll look into it, and I'll have someone from staff will actually contact. We know where you are. We'll let you know what, if anything, we can do going forward. And if there's something that can be done, we'll do it as soon as possible or let you know other options.
Okay, we really appreciate
Thank you for
looking
coming
into
out
this.
tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
say-
you. You want to say?
Yeah. Let me just add something extra. It's like I understand that maybe you are trying to take completely the parking spots, but what if you just put it like a 15 minutes, 30 minutes, you like a other spots that they are like another villages that they are close by, that they put certain spots like at 15 minutes. That would be perfect. It's like for customers, go in, grab a coffee, in and out, or in my case that I'm work with a bunch of businesses and organizations around the community, just come pick up the stuff and they go.
We've used some of those spots in other places, so we'll look into it. And again, I thank you for coming out, and staff will get back to you, okay?
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Okay, again, public comment on this side? Anyone else on my right side for now? Okay, hearing none. Anybody on my left side? John, you want to come forward?
Hello, my name is Jonathan Platt. I live at 3649 Madison in Brookfield. I'm a longtime resident and past president of the Brookfield Library and a past member of the Brookfield Conservation Commission, and a retiree after working over 30 years as a social worker, including time spent at Cook County Hospital. Until this year, I saw my main retirement contribution to Brookfield as volunteering to keep Salt Creek and North Kiwanis area free of trash. That ended when I started seeing the pain and fear currently hitting our Cook County communities. I began doing volunteer work for Indivisible, which is an independent grassroots movement of thousands of local organizations. And I did this by going out to our local businesses in Brookfield to pass out Know Your Rights information sheets, which could be passed on to their customers. The most important rights listed were how our laws protect us from illegal and unreasonable search and seizures. Unfortunately, it is now clear that the United States Department of Immigration officials, commonly known as ICE, in our area are on a regular basis violating those laws and ignoring court orders demanding that they uphold our most basic laws. There is no reason to believe that what is happening in Little Village, Broadview, River Forest, and Bensonville won't happen here. I am looking for guidance and assistance in protecting my neighbors and the community from these horrors that are happening around us daily. I believe that this could begin with Indivisible working with the village of Brookfield to put out more detailed information on what to do should ICE appear in Brookfield and they continue to break the law. As an example, if ICE agents attempt to force their way into a resident's home without a judicial warrant, can that resident call on the Brookfield Police for protection? These, unfortunately, are unprecedented times. And what would normally be the way to receive assistance through the law is clearly laid out, unfortunately, again, because this is unprecedented violations of people's basic rights. I'm concerned that that we have to have some discussions about what we can now expect and what we as concerned citizens can do to help. I would like to help facilitate and clarify this by helping set up a follow-up meeting with a designated indivisible representative and either Village of Brookfield trustees or village staff to further this discussion. I should say right now I'm speaking as a Brookfield resident, not here representing ICE because I'm simply not in that position. But I would definitely follow up with a meeting that that Indivisible has scheduled for this Wednesday, if we can and facilitate any kind of meeting. So I'd like to ask tonight, is it possible for anybody, me to schedule with anybody in the village, either on the village board or villages, a village staff to continue the conversation and help carry this out?
Sorry, this is a public comment section. We can't take any specific action tonight, but I mean, I think you've made everyone aware of the meeting. I think several of us are aware of when the meetings are, and, you know, we can attend in terms of staff. In terms of questions, the police, I know Chief Curville is in the back. If you have questions about police action, I can tell you that our police department is briefed and aware of the Illinois Trust Act and what obligations they have under Illinois state law. They are following those laws, and there's regular briefings at every shift about that. So can't take any specific action tonight, but we're well aware of the situation. We're well aware, and we're following the state laws.
Is there a time that I can return to a village board meeting where you would be able to take action? Because my purpose and my point is that we're here, and more and more people are stepping up and asking what they can do to support the police, our police, and the village government in ensuring the rights and safety of our citizens. I think that if we're to be successful here, it's going to take action on everybody's part.
If there's, you know, again, Chief Curville is in the back, and I know he'll share information with you at a time. Maybe you can talk to him. If there's assistance that you could provide to the police department, you know, going forward in terms of you having meetings going forward. If village trustees want to attend, I'll talk to village staff if anyone's able to attend or needs to attend. It's not on the agenda. It's not a specific action that we're going to take, and I'll talk to the board about it going forward in terms of future agendas. If there's something where it requires board action, we could deal with it that way.
Yeah. I appreciate that, and I understand that this is real preliminary on all our parts, including Indivisible. So I thank you, and again, any kind of communication would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And Chief Curville will provide he's in the back corner there. He'll provide contact information. He needs to stick around for the meeting, but he'll be able to provide you contact information. More comment on this side? Yes, ma'am?
Hello. Okay. Hi, Beth Burnson. I am a Brookfield resident. I live at 3325 Maple. I appreciate the time to make a comment this evening. I know I'm not alone in being horrified about the activities that I see and hear about every day all across the metro area due to the Midway Blitz initiative by the Trump administration. In the West Cook suburbs, we have seen stories of federal agents throwing canisters of tear gas at stores that include harming one-year-old children. We have seen workers just doing their jobs being pulled away by masked men. Even a local food collection by a Girl Scout troop was interrupted by federal agents this weekend just at a nearby village. So as a resident of a Brookfield, a mother of a 5-year-old, I'm really shocked and terrified by these events happening in our villages and communities. But I'm very proud of the way our communities are really stepping up and protecting each other, doing food distribution, rapid response, sharing the Know Your Rights information and the whistles like our library is doing now, exercising our freedom of speech to kind of make sure our voices are heard in opposition to these actions. And we've also seen villages across the area start to take action, doing executive orders, resolutions, ordinances to really protect their neighbors by not allowing federal immigration agents to stage or process any enforcement activities on their village property, and ensuring that village employees do not aid federal immigration investigations or enforcement through personnel or resources. This includes recent policies from Berwyn, Oak Park. There was an executive order actually at Cook County that also just did this out just last month. And so I'm here today to really ask that the Brookfield board consider doing the same thing and mirror these efforts and pass something that ensures that ICE is not operating with our acquiescence here in the village. My daughter attends the STARS program just downstairs in the Village Hall basement, and I just think about her playing at Kiwanis Park and having ICE agents in the parking lot, and it's just terrifying. So I really would ask the board to help make sure that things like that don't happen here. We are all aware that these activities are not really about stopping criminals, but really harassing and terrorizing people based on their race and ethnicity. And so, you know, if Brookfield really won't take action to ensure the safety of all people in our community, it harms not just our neighbors, it'll harm our businesses who depend on workers coming in and people coming in to do business and buy our goods here. And we want to make sure we're communicating that we're a safe and open and welcoming community. I think we're really lucky to live in a diverse village. It's one of the reasons that we purchased a home here just 3 years ago. My husband and I came and moved in 3 years ago so we could raise our family here. But new families are not going to move in and want to call Brookfield home if we are not welcoming and not publicly committed to inclusion and safety of all of our community members. So I'm really asking the village board to take action to keep ICE off of our village property. I will say I do public policy in my day job, so I'd be happy to support the village in any way I can to make that happen. I also will be sharing my comments tonight with you all by email as well if you'd like to follow up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see a hand back there. I can't tell. There's Barb. Okay. Sorry, Barb, you were hidden there.
Hi, Barbra Dahm, 4513 Park. My first statement is I appreciate, and I have it written down, so I'm going to be reading. I appreciate the return of the Salt Creek signage on Brookfield Avenue. It's long overdue. It was there for a long time, and it was taken down when the bridge was taken down, and I'm very glad that it returned. My next comment is electric vehicle stations. Our local government does not operate gas stations. Our local government does not have an auto repair business, nor do they have a car dealership. I see no reason to get involved in an EV station. There is a station near Target and Hodgkins, if anyone's familiar with the area. From what I see, seldom used. It's a seldom used area. However, there is retail shopping which is nearby while the EVs are charging. In my opinion, any stations should be placed near retail. We do not need to spend $76,000. How long would it take for a return on this investment to put in any EV charging stations? EV stations around Grand, well, the drivers can stop in at the bars and have a few drinks and then get in the car after it's been charged up. EV stations should be done by the private sector. Maybe it's not profitable, and that's why they're not doing it. My next comment is tax levy. I read this in the landmark. The landmark dated November 5th, permanent tax levy for streets. I ended up looking through all my old Brookfielders, and in the spring of 2006 issue, a referendum was printed for the March 21st primary election at that time for the purpose to repair infrastructure, and it amounted to a 1% sales tax. As far as I know, that sales tax is still there. On December 1st of 2015, began a town hall meeting for road improvement referendum for the March 2016 ballot. As stated in the Brookfielder, the proposed road program puts the village on a sustainable improvement program. 2020 was an updated on Brookfield capital projects, and it was referenced in the Brookfielder, or in the landmarks, no, in the Brookfielder. This will be year 5 of the referendum funded street improvement program. My feeling is sales tax money is coming in for the infrastructure from 2006. The 2016 referendum passed for the infrastructure, both of which are permanent. It appears to me, based on the landmarks issue of their paper of November 5th, musical chairs is being played with infrastructure money to free up funds for that community center that is not needed, in my opinion. The community center. Now, some of this is pertaining to the library. The library's November-December edition, page 3, is announcing a dance party for November 14th and December 15th of this year. I'd like to know what kind, now I know you guys can't answer this, but I'm just throwing it out there. What kind of insurance is required for these dance party programs at the library? We had in the basement, the Dance Party was once held in the basement of Village Hall, and it was required to have insurance by the Parks and Recreation Director. This was a small women's group, sometimes 10, maybe sometimes only 3 women attending. And I'd like to know what kind of insurance participants at a community center would be required to have, because I don't see it as any different of having public being in a public building, the community center, the village basement, or any of our public parks, and yet downstairs it was required to have insurance. We all signed waivers. We all have some form of private insurance, whether it's through our employer or Medicare or Medicaid or something, and yet this group was told they had to have insurance. Kind of all seems discriminatory to me that just a small women's group in the basement was supposed to have insurance. The references should know about any insurance requirements before supporting the residents, rather. The residents should know about any insurance requirements before supporting a rec center. Because if you end up building a rec center and then you come along and you tell people, oh, you're going to have a separate insurance policy in order for you to participate in this building, they may have a different idea about a rec center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barb. Ma'am, yes.
Good evening. My name is Katie Vigna, and I live at 9507 Jackson Avenue since the tail end of 2020. It was the end of the worst of the COVID pandemic. We're 8 months pregnant, our prayers were answered, and we purchased our first home right here in Brookfield. As a child, I attended and graduated from Mater Christi School in North Riverside more years ago than I would care to put on public record. I'm also an active member of several organizations who value the betterment of everyone in our community. I'm also the proud great-granddaughter of Irish immigrants and the proud daughter of a Mexican immigrant. My husband, a Chicago-born second-generation Mexican-American, lifelong Sox fan, I married him anyway, and I have found a true community here in Brookfield, where I've made lifelong mommy friends, and where our almost 5-year-old attends music classes in town and preschool through the outstanding village programs that are offered here for our family. A true community where my daughter is flourishing, my garden can grow, my husband can stand beer in hand, admiring the Comiskey-style lines he mows into our lawn in the summer. My parents can come and sit with their granddaughter in our backyard, in her playhouse turned pirate ship, and my dog can terrorize squirrels. All pretty good stuff there. But right now, I am absolutely terrified for my family, for our community, and for the precipice on which we now find ourselves during this very real constitutional crisis. In the last month, I've had to ask my husband to stay behind from several work outings in the city for fear that he will be racially profiled and disappeared into the system, as we are seeing happen with more and more terrifying frequency. I've had to insist my father, a man who made a career, just like you, out of being a public servant, and the first Mexican-American state fire marshal in the history of our country. Stay home, Dad, because ICE is going door to door in Berwyn. I'll come get the baby. I don't want you to leave the house, and if you do, take Mom, bring a copy of your passport. And I still can't believe these are the messages I have to send my father today. The values by which our country has stood firm are being dismantled before our very eyes every day. The desire to uphold the law and maintain some semblance of who we are as Americans has been brutishly cast aside. For instead, what? The desire to inflict the maximum amount of cruelty by ignoring constitutionally assured due process for everyone. I'm here to ask our village to do what is well within their right and their realm to do to protect our community. We must not now nor ever allow nor allocate village-funded resources to allow federal immigration agents to lawlessly stage attacks and detentions on our community. Our neighboring communities of Berwyn and Oak Park, just like you heard a few minutes ago, have answered the call of their constituents by passing ordinances, protections, executive orders that do not allow for any such enforcement activities to take place on village property. Not having proper documentation is at worst a civil offense, but let's be honest, they're not even asking anymore. So we must ask of you. There is still such a thing as accountability, and we must be on the right side of a civil offense not being considered a death sentence. A civil offense is not a crime, nor is being brown-skinned in America. Brookfield is for everyone. And we will continue to meet with our constitutionally protected rights to assemble, document, and ask for that accountability wherever we can. This is the first step in that process, and you have the power to help the people here, and we are the people to help enact, myself included. Right now, we seek your leadership, your bravery, and your proactive vigilance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming out. Anyone else on my left side have any further public comment at this point? And I know some people walked in on the right side after I started the public comment. Just in case, we're still at the very beginning of the village board meeting. We have the whole village board meeting agenda to go. There will be public comment later at the committee of the whole meeting, where the only topic up tonight is the possible rental registration ordinance. And I was going to allow public comment on that topic at that time, but I knew a few people walked in. Does anyone else have any public comment now on this side? Okay. Thank you. Hearing no further public comment, I'm going to ask that we move on to reports of special committees, please. Trustee Narimatsu.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the corporate warrant dated November 10th, 2025 in the amount of $2,277,045.18.
Second.
The motion was made by Trustee Narimatsu, second by Trustee Kaluzny. Are there any highlights or anything you want to point out?
Yes, I have a couple, about 1.1 million to Five Star Energy for phases 1 through 3 of the 2025 lead water service replacements. A little over 96,000 to Narduli Concrete for the Blanchard Avenue improvements. 11,600 for engineering of the salt storage construction project. And then I wanted to highlight $3,500 for a power bike that was cost shared with grant funding that was applied for and received by the police department. This is one of 2 power bikes, I believe, that the police department will have through the grant. And that is it.
Thank you. Do any board members have any question or comments related to the warrant? Okay, hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Ketchmark.
Aye.
Trustee Whitehead.
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu.
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley.
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Aye.
Motion passes.
As to DPW, staff have been cleaning up after the fall market season and getting ready for the holiday celebration. They recently installed a new slide at Kiwanis Park, and they're getting a baseball field ready for upcoming work. As always, you can use the See-Click Fix function on the village website to address any public works concerns. And that ends my report.
Thank you. Trustee Gilhooley, Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, just a brief report tonight. The chamber is busy working on the Kringle Market, the Chris Kringle Market that is coming up for 2 days this year, December 6th and 7th, and also busy working with the village also on the holiday celebration, also December 6th, and working on securing vendors and sponsorships and just getting everything ready for that, again, alongside village. In addition to that, just two other things. Dancing with the Chamber is underway. All their preparation, all their lessons have gotten started there. So that's a spring event, but they do have to start early. All those participants. And then finally, we had a ribbon cutting this past week for Lux Honor, right on Grand right here, and just a beautiful shop. Encourage everybody to go take a look at yet another newer business to Brookfield. They did come, I think it was last summer, but finally were able to do their ribbon cutting, and it's just a really kind of interesting and lovely spot. So encourage everyone to take a look at that place and all of our other businesses that are now able to not have all of the construction going on in that part of the village, and so everybody's open for business and just keep supporting our.
Thank you, Trustee Gilhooley. Trustee Hendricks is not here this evening. Trustee Ketchmark, Administration, Economic Development.
The Economic Development Commission meets next Wednesday, the 19th, right here at 8:30 a.m. and we'll report back after that. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Whitehead, Parks and Recreation.
The Parks and Rec Commission has not met since our last meeting. The Commission continues to work with Assistant Village Manager Stevie Ferrari on interim priorities as the village's process for hiring a new Parks Director moves forward. Couple updates from the department. Work is scheduled to begin on Ellert Park Field 1 this week, weather permitting. This is on the large baseball field at Ellert to upgrade dugouts and much of the facility there. So hoping to get that work going this fall. The next trip to the Paramount Theater in Aurora is November 19th to see White Christmas. The registration fee includes transportation to and from the theater and lunch. Also food and beverages included. There's room for 12 more guests on that trip, which is on November 19th. Holiday celebration planning is underway. The event is Saturday, December 6th from 2 to 6. Highlights include an candy cane bounce house, ice games around town, the holiday market, which Trustee Gilhooley just mentioned. That's running on the 6th and the 7th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on both days. Free trolley service to get you around to all the different activities, pictures with Santa, Rosedale Station tours, a 16-foot indoor slide. I could go on, but hopefully you're already booking the date for your friends and family. The tree lighting countdown will be at 5:30 p.m. sharp. And trolleys can take people back to trolley stops throughout town right after tree lighting. The sponsor level is set at $250 open to community families and businesses. As part of the sponsorship, you can choose to decorate a tree that's provided to you, donate to a family in need. If you don't want to decorate, you can let us know, and staff and volunteers will decorate your sponsored tree. Your family will be recognized next to the donated tree at the event, and village staff have combined dollars to donate at this level themselves. Will be decorating their own tree in the coming weeks, so thank you, staff. The commission also agreed to a small purchase of stuffed teddy bears and lollipops to pass out at the holiday celebration, so you needed one more reason to go. The Parks and Rec Commission will next meet on Tuesday, November 18th at 6:30 p.m. here at Village Hall. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Kaluzny, Conservation, Beautification.
Yes, thank you. The Conservation Commission met 2 weeks ago, and they spent a lot of time debriefing their recent Meet the Creek event, which was a huge success again. So thank you to everyone that was coming out and everyone that participated on staff to help pull that together. They always think of new best practices for the coming year, so they wrote it all down. So hopefully you'll see some new things next year as well. They also had a work day this past weekend where they were planting some baby shrubs in different areas in Kiwanis Park and along the creek, and a really great day for that. And then they all got watered in nicely and then snowed on. So hopefully they're all enjoying their new environment. And then they're working on thinking about their 2026 programming, starting with a repeat of a program that was successful last year about lead water line replacements. In January or February, they held that at the library last year, and it was a nice way to kick off before construction started again this coming year. So noting that in case anyone wants to participate. Looking over at you, Derek. But they had Yes, they had a nice turnout, so they're hoping to do that again and build on that success and just do some more information and education campaign for residents on that piece. Their next meeting is on November 25th at 6 p.m. here at Village Hall. And then the Beautification Commission met last week. They started looking at their 2026 calendar as well, but also they got 16 spooky submissions for Halloween decorations that they were helping to narrow down for a public vote that went out last week. So hopefully that winner will be announced in the newsletter this week from the village. And now, starting December 1st, you can submit your holiday decorations as well. So from the 1st to the 15th, you can submit your yard for that as well, and then there'll be voting later in the year, and the winner will be announced before Christmas. Their next meeting is January 6th at 6:30 p.m. here at Village Hall.
Thank you, Trustee Kaluzny. The Solid Waste Agency and the WCMC had their full membership meetings last Wednesday. I attended as a member of the WCMC Executive Board. Both agencies approved their financial audits, independent audits for each of the agencies, and budget figures. There was a lot of discussion about lead water service funding going forward and other topics. So I'll continue to attend those meetings and update the board. Brookfield Zoo is starting their holiday lights, and they have an event the same weekend that we have our holiday celebration. So we'll continue the coordination, try to minimize traffic issues, and the Southgate ticketing system they have has helped reduce the impact on those, heavy nights when there's a lot of people at the holiday lights. So we'll just continue to try and minimize the impact. It's a very popular event at the zoo on the weekends, and we want people to be able to go there. We're just trying to minimize the impact on our residents and on our streets for traffic. So we'll just continue the great communication we have between the two agencies. So that ends the reports of, I'm sorry. I just want to remind everyone that tomorrow is Veterans Day. The Joshua Harris VFW Post is hosting a Veterans Day ceremony, and we're going to do it outside tomorrow. The head of the VFW asked me if we considered moving inside. I said it was open. It's going to be a little chilly tomorrow, but the ceremony is usually pretty short, but it's at 11 o'clock at Veterans Park at corner of Grand and Sunnyside there. So if anyone wants to join in on the ceremony, it will start at 11 o'clock. It will be relatively short, and then I think people are invited to the VFW Post afterwards for a light lunch and refreshments. And as we think about Veterans Day, I always remember former Trustee Cote always used to want to make the pitch, and I'm happy to continue to make the pitch about mental health, not just for everyone. The National Suicide Hotline, if you need help, it's 988. There's also the Veterans, I think it's option 2, you hit that. And the Cook County Department of Veterans Affairs our commission has links on our website for if you're a veteran in need of assistance, please reach out. Still losing too many veterans to suicide, and it's very important that we help get the word out, message out about the resources. So our website is a conduit for those things. So if you know someone in need, have them reach out. So that ends the reports at this point. At this point, I would entertain a motion to pass the omnibus agenda as listed.
Second.
Motion was made by Trustee Gilhooley, second by Trustee Ketchmark. We have a roll call, please.
Aye.
Trustee Whitehead.
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu.
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley.
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Among the many important items on that, we did just cancel the second regularly scheduled meeting in December. We typically meet the second and fourth Mondays of the month, but we did just cancel the second meeting, the December 22nd meeting for holidays. If there's a need for a special meeting or actions needed, we will schedule a special board meeting if necessary. Okay, now we have several items under regular business. In fact, there's 5 engineering agreements being considered tonight. 4 of these agreements are associated with the village requesting bypass funding from the Illinois EPA for projects to be constructed in 2026 and 27. It should be noted that the cost for items 2, 3, and 5 under regular business will only be incurred if the IEPA approves the bypass funding for these projects and construction is performed. However, it is necessary for the village to pass these agreements tonight because the IEPA requires executed agreements for any engineering costs that are to be paid with loan funding to be included in the request for bypass funding. Hancock Engineering anticipates making the request for bypass funding by the end of the week. They will be requesting approximately $25 million in lead water service replacement and $12 million in water main improvements. So there's a lot of items here in a row. That's the preface on, these, but we'll go through them one by one. This was something we kind of talked about during the committee of the whole presentation about the bypass funding, but I just wanted to remind the board and the audience what this is about. So the first item, I'd entertain a motion to pass a resolution to approve and authorize the execution of a professional design engineer agreement by and between the Edwin Hancock Engineering Company and the village for the completion of Phase 1 and Phase 2 engineering for the Prairie Avenue improvements for $237,700.
So moved.
Second.
And this, just to be clear, this Phase 1 and Phase 2 engineering agreements will allow the village to request contingency funding for resurfacing improvements to Prairie Avenue from Brookfield Avenue all the way to 31st. Streetscape improvements will be included from the Brookfield Avenue to Grant Avenue. And if contingency funding is obtained, the improvements to Prairie can occur as early as 2027. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark.
Aye.
Trustee Whitehead.
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu.
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley.
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Aye.
Motion passes.
The next item, I'd entertain a motion to pass a resolution to approve and authorize the execution of a professional construction engineering agreement by and between the Edwin Hancock Engineering Company and the village for the 2026 water main improvements project in a not-to-exceed amount of $523,200.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Narimatsu, second by trustee Kaluzny. This construction engineering agreement for the 2026 water main improvements project, the village will be requesting bypass funding for this project from the IEPA. To make this request, the IEPA requires executed copies of the engineering agreements be paid for with loan funding. The cost will only be incurred if the village obtains the bypass funding and construction is performed. Any questions or comments on the resolution? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark.
Aye.
Trustee Whitehead.
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu.
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley.
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on to item 3, I'd entertain a motion to pass a resolution to approve and authorize the execution of a construction engineer agreement by and between the Edwin Hancock Engineering Company and the village for the 2026 lead water service replacement project in an amount not to exceed $571,900.
So moved.
Motion was made by trustee Kaluzny, second by trustee Gilhooley. This is another project where the village will be requesting bypass funding for this project from the IPA. To make this request, the IPA requires executed copies of any engineering agreements to be paid for with loan funding. The cost will only be incurred if the village obtains the bypass funding and the construction is performed. Any further questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark.
Aye.
Trustee Whitehead.
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu.
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley.
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on to the next item, I'd entertain a motion to pass a resolution to approve and authorize the execution of a professional design engineering agreement by and between the Edwin Hancock Engineering Company and the village for the 2027 lead water service replacement project in the amount of $42,500.
So moved.
Motion was made by trustee Kaluzny, second by trustee Gilhooley. Again, lead water service, the village will be requesting bypass funding for this also from the IPA. And again, to make this request, the IPA requires executed copies of any engineering agreements be paid for with loan funding. Questions, comments from the board? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark.
Aye.
Trustee Whitehead.
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu.
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley.
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Aye.
Motion passes.
The last related item, I'd entertain a motion to pass a resolution to approve and authorize the execution of a construction engineer agreement by and between the Edwin Hancock Engineering Company and the Village of Brookfield for the 2027 lead water service replacement project in a not-to-exceed amount of $375,500.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Kaluzny, second by trustee Narimatsu. And again, we're going to be requesting bypass funding from the IPA on this. Required to have the executed copies of the engineering agreements paid for with loan funding. These costs will only be incurred if the village obtains the bypass funding and the construction is performed. Questions or comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark.
Aye.
Trustee Whitehead. Trustee Narimatsu.
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley.
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Aye.
Motion passes.
We just approved a lot of engineering for a lot of infrastructure work coming up. I know the past couple summers, there's been a lot of things torn up, streets, water mains, individual lead service lines. We appreciate the residents' patience. We are probably the farthest village along in the lead service replacement requirement in the area, if not in the whole state. This was a federal mandate that we replace these lead service. We weren't required to start them until next year, or 2027, but we were able to come up with a plan and inventory. There was a water rate increase. There's going to be another possible water rate increase needed to finish funding this, but we will be done before most villages are starting. And by starting this early, we are able to take advantage of, you hear these bypass fundings and the low interest and no interest loans that are available through the federal government that are eventually going to dry up. So we are way ahead of the game here and making the necessary improvements, trying to get the best cost possible. But I appreciate all the residents' patience with all the construction, dust, restoration, everything that's going on. It'll be well worth it. So thank you. And Hancock Engineering, Dan, you look like you might be working on Thanksgiving and all the way through the holidays with all this design engineering come up, so thank you. Moving on to item number 6, I'd entertain a motion to pass an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one Ford Lifeline Superliner Type 1 Advanced Life Support Ambulance from Lifeline Emergency Vehicles through the Houston-Galveston Area Council Consortium.
Second.
Motion was made by Trustee Gilhooley, second by Trustee Kaluzny. This was talked about during the recent budget workshop, but fancy way of saying we're starting the process of buying a new ambulance, and the lead time on these is very significant, and Chief Adams was able to get us into this Houston-Galveston Area Council Consortium, which is a government purchasing cooperative that offers contracts through vendors to provide the most competitive pricing for these apparatus. So starting the process early. Chief Adams is here if you will have any questions, but we did talk about it at the budget meeting. As you will recall, this is a 2 to 3 year process to actually get the ambulance. We're starting the process tonight if the board takes this action, but because of the supply chain and the equipment and the retrofitting, it takes 2 to 3 years to get the ambulance. So again, it's just future planning on behalf of the department. So questions or comments for the board, or if anyone wants Chief Adams to come up, he's here tonight.
It looks like he wants to come talk. I guess I just clarifying for the public from the budget workshop that because it takes a long time, that it is also budgeted over several years of time. And so we're only budgeting, like we're approving it tonight, but we're only then maybe budgeting for a portion of it for next year.
Yeah, yes, basically the chassis and the power load system for the stretcher system, which is a huge safety device. And just as an example, the most recent ambulance we just took delivery of about 2 months ago, and it's already in service. We had it's pretty much the same ordinance in July of 2023, and we just took delivery of it after 26 months. So even though we budgeted that money for 2026, I'm hoping that we will have a chassis and at least expend that money. And then obviously in 27, we'll budget the rest of it. So.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions for Chief while he's up here?
Worth that to
Well, and honestly, if this is the way it's going to continue, you're probably going to see this every probably 3 years now come up. So, and which is a good rotation to have on our ambulances. They do get a lot of use. We have 2 frontline ambulances and 1 in reserve. So we very rarely, if ever, never have 2 ambulances ready to go in service at all times. So thank you for your support on that too.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the board? Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have a roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark.
Aye.
Trustee Whitehead.
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu.
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley.
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And then the last item we have under regular business, I'd entertain a motion to pass an ordinance to amend the Village Code Section 36-711, construction operations.
So moved.
Second.
The motion was made by Trustee Kaluzny, seconded by Trustee Narimatsu. Tim, can I call on you just to summarize this, just to save my voice a bit so I can take a drink of water?
I will let Stevie.
Thank you, Stevie.
President Garvey and Board, this item came up as a result of occasional resident inquiries regarding the start and end times of our construction operations. It was noted in the inquiries that they have checked the ordinance and our practice does not seem to be aligned with our contracts for construction typically begin at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, and ordinance allows 7:30 a.m. So we are trying to align the ordinance verbiage with our current practice of construction.
And this is for all types of construction, but there's exception for government emergency water main break work and other municipal
Correct. It
emergencies.
does still leave flexibility. for
Because we try to not schedule those water main breaks, but they do happen at times other than that, and we can't wait till the morning, so. Okay, questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark.
Aye.
Trustee Whitehead.
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu.
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley.
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Tim, do you have a manager's report?
I certainly do, President Garvey. Thank you very much. A couple items. Several board members have talked about preparing for the next 2 years of lead water replacements, and that's important and necessary. I thought I'd give a little status to the current year's lead line replacements, and we are just about done. We are 98% complete for the 3 phases that were approved by the board for lead line replacements in 2025. We have replaced and completed 578 out of 587 slated lead lines. The only remaining work to be done this year on the streets that saw this progress is landscaping and some punch list items. So we're just about wrapping up the end of that. Hancock Engineering has done a very good job, as usual, of monitoring and managing 5-star, as they've been the contractor that's been giving us very competitive prices for that. Second of all, we're not just focusing on lead lines, although that has been a key part of our efforts in water. We've replaced also this year about 7,000 linear feet of water mains on Jackson, Cleveland, and Lexington Avenues. All of those streets are completely finished. Blanchard Avenue and portions of Cleveland Avenue and Raymond Avenue are in progress or substantially completed. We anticipate that all of those, and the water mains on all of those streets will be replaced this year on schedule. Second of all, I get asked from time to time about those are public projects, what's going on with some of the private developments that the board has weighed and seen over the past year. Where are we with those? I'll just go real quick through a few of those. Probably the number one priority for us to see developed is a triangle site, 8921 Fairview. The village board and the plan commission and the village board both approved a preliminary PUD earlier this year. We've been waiting patiently for the developer, Martin McDonough, to move forward with, still needs to apply for final plan unit development and go to the plan commission and back to the village board. They've had some changes in their development team, but we are encouraged to find out recently that those changes are now in place. And so we are anticipating that they will apply for final PD plan development approval to the plan commission next month. So staff awaits for that moment, and we will be working with them quickly to move that forward as fast as we possibly can. It is the developer's intention to break ground on new construction in the spring of 2026. Second of all, the village board is aware that we've purchased 2 properties on Grand Boulevard in our downtown, 3717 and 3723 Grand Boulevard. The purpose of the village purchasing those 2 buildings, the Brookfield Theater building and the multifamily building to the north, was to seek development and redevelopment of those sites. We've issued a request for proposal document, advertised for it, and we are working with 2 very serious developers who are interested in developing mixed-use projects there. What that would entail is both buildings would be torn down. There'd be commercial space on the first floor, and then most likely some type of residential or other multifamily type of uses above the commercial properties, above the commercial uses. Excuse me. We are hopeful that next month we will be bringing to a committee of the whole these two development proposals side by side and let the board weigh in on your preferences. So we're encouraged that there's interest there. We're encouraged that there's active interest in seeing those properties developed. Thirdly, 3827 Maple Avenue, the former Auto Works site. Staff has been working through both the court system, bearing in mind that we had to have the old Auto Works demolished. That required a court order. We are also going through the foreclosure process and to get our perfection of the demolition lien that we used to take that building down. We are working with a developer who is interested in redeveloping that site for multifamily use. And so we're hopeful that that developer will be ready with some plans and will come back to the village board in January or February of early next year with a proposed development agreement outlining development options and so forth to see if the board is interested in conveying the property to that developer. And finally, the bowling alley site, 3415 Maple Avenue. The board a couple meetings ago saw a presentation from developers interested in developing this site as a very nice and very progressive looking type of restaurant entertainment venue. They are very interested in pursuing the project that you all saw. We have heard recently the gas station next door, there may be some environmental work that has to be done first before that property can be subject for redevelopment. So we are working right now on the environmental study of our property to see if any of that underground bad stuff has leaked onto our property, and if so, we have to identify what needs to be done there. But we are hopeful that that will clean itself and will identify what needs to be done. And then early in the first quarter of 2026, we'll come back to the village board with that developer for a potential development agreement to see that project move forward. So we're working hard to try to set the village up for some exciting private development projects in 2026. That's all.
Thank you for the updates, Tim. Appreciate it. Okay, that ends the items on the village board agenda. So at 7:27 p.m., I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the village board meeting.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Narimatsu, second by trustee Ketchmark. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Aye.
Trustee Whitehead? Trustee Narimatsu?
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley?
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, we're adjourned at 7:28. We will start the committee of the whole meeting in just a few moments. Thank you.